Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm sorry, I'm looking down at my notes because this is kind of a weird topic and I know it may sort of hit a nerve um, because of our limitations as chronically ill people or disabled people, but I wanted to talk about social media and its implications. Now, I want to let you guys know I am not one of these people that's like, the internet is ruining people's lives or social media is horrible or, I actually didn't really think social media um, really made any huge difference as far as the effect that it was having on us as people until very recently. So you've heard me mention that I'm on Twitter a lot. In some of my recent videos, I'm always referencing Twitter or referencing social media. When I reference social media, I'm probably talking about Twitter. I've had my Twitter account for about, I think, 12 years or almost since Twitter started, and never really used it until probably the last 3 years. I got a little bit more into it because of the political climate and all the things that were going on. And I started getting hooked. And if there's one platform that you don't want to get hooked on, it's got to be Twitter. I think it's probably one of the most toxic social media platforms. I know a lot of people reserve that title for Instagram, but I would say Twitter by far is the most toxic platform out there. But apart from, the misinformation that has circulated around on social media, a lot of the polarization when it comes to politics and that kind of thing, I see something a little bit, something that is not at the forefront. And that is how we are now replacing our interactions on social media with actual live human interactions. Now, here's where this situation gets a little sticky, particularly for those of us that are chronically ill, disabled, homebound, or have mental health issues where, we really don't feel comfortable going out, anxiety, agoraphobia, things like that. Um, a lot of our socializing is done online, it's done through social media. I know personally, I sort of kind of stay in touch and up to date with my family in Mexico through Facebook. That's the only way that I know what's going on with them and how they're doing is through Facebook because they're posting updates there, or they post pictures. Facebook and Instagram is sort of where I kind of connect with family and some friends that I haven't seen in a long time. But one thing that I've seen on Twitter is this sort of like, these are my buddies, right? This is my community. These are my buddies. These are my friends. I see people that wake up in the morning and they're just like, good morning, guys, And it's very weird to me because it's like you don't know these people. You've never met these people. You don't know who they are. And even as a disabled person, um, I understand that. I know that there are a lot of disabled people out there that, that is their only interaction with other people. That is their only exchange with others. And that is probably the only way that they can communicate with other people or communicate with the outside world. Um, but for me, I feel that it's very important for me personally to understand that I don't know these people. Some of them aren't even real. And I think it's very important to understand that. I know a lot of people are going to have a very different perspective, especially those people that really literally cannot leave their homes. And I think that is why chronic illness and disability can be so kind of mentally destructive, is because we don't get that social interaction, and we don't get to be out there with other people like healthier people. Um, and I don't think social media is can really be a substitute. I honestly, my opinion, and again, this is just my opinion. Um, Although I'm wondering if there are studies that would back this up, but I don't think that you really can substitute human interaction and being around people with social media. And I actually think now, my thinking is very differently. I do believe that it is disabling people that actually don't have disabilities. Because I see a lot of this among healthy people, people that are fine, that don't seem to have any physical or mental ailments, that are living their lives online for whatever reason. And like I said, I know that this is going to be, a touchy subject for those of us who are disabled, but I believe that it is accurate. I do think that studies would back up what I'm saying. And I know a lot of therapists have told me that as well. Some of my own therapists have said, like, have you joined a support group? Are you going out? Are you, you need to go out and do this, and that. And it's like, well, it's very difficult for me to do that. And it's still difficult for me to do that. I'm still not going out and meeting people or talking to people. And part of that is my disability. Another part of it is because I just don't like it. I've become so accustomed to being kind of a hermit that I won't go out and do these things anymore. And again, I think social media is sort of making some of us that way. Those people that don't have disabilities and that can go out, I think social media is making it easy to not go out and meet people, and it's sort of making us afraid of people. So I don't think that it is a substitute for human interaction. I myself am not fond of human interaction, but that still doesn't change, what I believe to be the facts. And like I said, I think, I don't think it's being well researched at this time. I think it will be eventually as we start to see, like I said, Twitter has been around for 15 years or something. I think 20 years down the line, 25 years down the line, because now we have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of these, different platforms that are more reason for us to stay in. And I think it's going to lead people to begin to research it more seriously. There have been documentaries. I think there was that one documentary, I forget what it was called, but it was a documentary based on, propaganda and how that's affecting people, how that sort of made some people fall into extremism, political extremism. And yes, that is one big part of it. That and misinformation are really, really big problems. But even underneath those things, just the simple, this feeling of these are my friends. I have my friends in my pocket. I actually met someone through social media, I believe through Periscope, and she would call her followers her pocket friends. And it's important to recognize that these are not your friends. And I've learned this because I've met people off of social media. I've met at least 10 people, and it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out because we believe that these people we believe that they are the way they are in person, the same that they are online. And a lot of times online, you are putting on a persona. And I think that's why a lot of people prefer the online thing, because they can control what people see and how people perceive them. And then when you meet that person in real life, they're totally different. They're not at all how you thought they were going to be. They can actually, answer you back when you say something. It becomes a very, very different dynamic. And I think that's why a lot of my social media friends have not worked out in real life, because it just doesn't translate well to in-person interaction. But it's not good to just get so stuck in that. These are my friends. I think it is important at the very least. Like I said, a lot of us can't really go out and socialize, but I think it is important to recognize that the people that we're talking to online are not exactly the people we think they are. They're not our friends. They're not our buddies. They have a lot of we have a lot of things in common, but I think we have to be realistic with ourselves, because it will sort of what is the word? um, it will distort. That's the word I was looking for. It will distort our perception of reality if we continue to believe that that's reality, because that isn't reality. Those people, I feel like I even see people sort of forming like romantic relationships online, and it's like that is not real. And I think it's also kind of unhealthy and weird. And it's just psychologically, what is it doing to us? And I think that's what we don't know yet. We don't know how this is psychologically hurting us or benefiting us or any of those things. I'm not, I'm not saying these things to be, contrarian or to be abrasive, because I know that a lot of us don't have that choice. I have taken a deep dive into social media, particularly last year, because we were all stuck at home. So we've been doing a lot of the Zoom meetings, and we've been on every social media platform, making jokes with people and having some level of interaction, because we can't in any other way. And I get that, but we have to acknowledge that it probably isn't the healthiest, and it's probably not as beneficial as actual human interaction. It's just bizarre. It's just bizarre to me, and I say this as someone that isn't social. I don't like meeting people. I don't like, I don't date. I don't do any of that. I just think it's important for us to realize that this is social media. It isn't real. So I'm going to give one example, and I believe I did do a video very similar to this a while back, and I gave this example that I was following an account, and she was following me back of this. She was like a Bernie Sanders supporter, and she was like this really cute blonde, and she literally like appeared out of nowhere, got thousands of followers. It was really, really crazy. She wasn't real. And that was the scary part, was that I would interact with her, she would interact with me, she would respond to my posts. I do believe there was a real person behind that account, but it wasn't that person. It was somebody faking being that person in order to push a political agenda. And she was posting pictures. She was posting pictures like every day, and she had opinions, and she was, we got along really well, and she was really nice. And, there, after Bernie dropped out of the race, she disappeared. Literally, the day that he dropped out, she was gone. The entire account was gone, and she never came back. That also, I had already suspected, and people were already circulating that it was a fake account. And so I kind of picked up on it. But there are people that become very emotionally invested in their followers and in these conversations that they have with people. And I can only imagine the person disappearing out of the blue, and what that does to someone psychologically, to think this was my friend. We had so many good conversations. There are people that even believe that they're falling in love with you, that's something that has happened to me just based off of a social media interaction. And that can be really damaging and really distressing, which is why I, kind of try to push, this thought process that this is not real. It's not real. Try to take your social media interactions with a grain of salt, because these people can disappear overnight. And that is the tough part. And I have had people, when I've taken social media breaks and that kind of thing, I've had people reach out to me and message me and say, where are you? What happened to you? Where did you go? And that makes me very uncomfortable, because I don't know these people, and why are they monitoring where I am or what I'm doing? It can cross over to, it's overstepping boundaries. And it does give me a vibe that it's very unhealthy. People are forming unhealthy attachments on the internet. So that is my topic for today. If you guys have any comments, go ahead and leave them down below. I know that this can be a touchy subject for a lot of us that really can't get out there. And I don't know the answer to this. I don't know the answer for those of us that are stuck at home. Um, it is that is why chronic illness is so hard for us, and why being stuck at home all the time is so mentally damaging for us. And I wish I had better answers and something to offer, but I think the only thing I can say is just be very careful with your social media interactions, because it really isn't real life. And I think it's becoming increasingly important to acknowledge that, given all of the things that have happened this year, because of social media, and the misinformation that just circulates on there, and this feeling that you are part of this group, a group that may not even exist, or that doesn't exist in the way that you believe it does, right? So let me know what you think. Like I said, I'm open to the I'm open to the discussion with this topic, and I really just that's all I can offer with this topic, and I hope it doesn't upset anybody too much, but it's just my own personal feelings about this. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.